Allow me to begin with how GNH, or Gross National Happiness, came to be the vision that guides Bhutan's development. Immediately upon ascending the throne, well before his 17th birthday in 1972, King Jigme Singye Wangchuk embarked on a journey of discovery and reflection throughout his kingdom. At the time, Bhutan was listed as the poorest member state in the GDP-based UN development ranking. In his intimate interaction with the people, our king discovered that while the Bhutanese people desperately needed to be led out of the misery of their material deficiencies, they did not see themselves as entirely poor. Their religious faith and practice gave them spiritual vigor. They took pride in their identity and cultural wealth, and they felt secure in the vitality and support of their family and community that thrived in symbiosis with nature. When the king explained his commitment to national development and asked of their needs and expectations, the typical response was that the people were satisfied and happy with their life. Their constant reference, though, to Kidu and Gaki, meaning happiness, provided, however, a coherent theme to their voice. The king was struck by his people's mental adroitness at preventing their material lacking from diminishing their sense of contentment. His own humility and sagacity opened his mind to the eloquently unspoken request of the people that development must promote happiness to be meaningful. Never having doubted his own responsibility as to respond to the aspirations of the people, there was no question why. Happiness should not be the purpose of Bhutan's development. This was furthered by his awareness of how environmental degradation, social dislocation, cultural erosion, spiritual impoverishment, and even diminished national sovereignty were the deliberately hidden costs of economic-centric development for many similarly poor and developing countries. Change for the Bhutanese people was not to be a trade between the past and the future we sought. It was not to be forgetting the needs of the mind to reach out for the wants of the body. It had to be holistic, sustainable, and inclusive in a way that none of the conventional development paradigms offered. Therein was born the philosophy of gross national happiness, anchored in the premise that the mutually dependent dual needs of the mind and the body, these being multi-dimensional, it is a paradigm, GNH is a paradigm for the progressive transformation of all conditions, natural, social and cultural, economic, that are intuitively known or now increasingly proven scientifically to affect the integrity and well-being of all interdependent life and human happiness on this finite planet. GNH is more about qualitative life improvement than quantitative economic development. Initially, GNH was structured as 4 pillars of 1, socioeconomic development, 2, cultural diversity and vitality, 3, environmental resilience, and 4, good governance. Pursuit of GNH is now monitored and informed by a multi-dimensional elaborate index that monitors variations in 9 well-being and happiness conditioning domains. These are health, education, living standard, time use, cultural diversity, community vitality, psychological well-being, ecological resilience, and good governance. The domains are composites of 33 indicators and 124 variables. Together, they gauge the extent and depth of their distribution at the individual, family, community, sectorial, and regional levels. The index is linked to a set of screening tools for all government policies and programs. Now, there are those who dismiss G&H as an attempt to reverse development. Others allege that it is anti-growth and that it rejects GDP as an indicator. On the contrary, G&H advocates advancement, continuous advancement of holistic development by building on society's astonishing accomplishments. G&H is for balanced growth of all dimensions of human life, including economic, but rejects the possibility of infinite growth based on the notion that the resources of the planet are finite, while in fact the resources of the planet are finite. So infinite growth in a finite planet is what we do not agree with. G&H employs GDP, does not reject, but it employs GDP as designed by its author Simon Kuznets, but it is confined to measuring certain economic changes only among the 9 dimensions. In point of fact, my country has thus far managed to balance modernity with tradition and growth with sustainability. Our forest cover, which was less than 64% at the beginning of development, has now expanded to 72%. Together with 51% of our territory declared as protected area, we are able to conserve our immensely rich biodiversity and demonstrate that development need not come at the cost of ecological degradation. These have emboldened us to make the daring pledge at the Copenhagen Climate Summit in 2009 to forever remain carbon neutral. Our cultural heritage, too, founded on Buddhist values which promote striving for the well-being of all sentient life, continues to guide us in our search for moderation, meaning and fulfillment in life. Its many vibrant manifestations are not in museums and tourist-attracting events, but in our everyday life. Economically, Bhutan has risen from the ignominy of the poorest to a middle-income country. The 2017 Sustainable Development Goals Progress Report shows Bhutan doing well and lists it among the top performers on poverty eradication, the most important of the 17 SDGs. Presently, our GDP per capita is the 3rd highest in South Asia after the Maldives and Sri Lanka. And the World Bank describes Bhutan as, and I quote, one of the smallest but fastest growing economies in the world. Its annual economic growth of 7.5% on average between 2006 and 2015 compares favorably with the average global growth rate of 4.4%. Keeping his pledge to promote good governance as being critical to his vision, our former king ushered in democracy and abdicated the throne at the age of 53 in favor of our current monarch. It heartens me greatly to see that our current ruler has imbibed his father's qualities and is fully behind the kingdom's unfaltering devotion to G&H. But how happy are the Bhutanese people, you might ask? The latest survey of 2015 shows significant growth of 1.8% in happiness level. And about 91.2% of the people are experiencing